What is up, my friend? In today's video, what I want to talk is how to do tracking and conversion tracking and attribution for your Facebook ad campaigns. Because one of the big challenges that most of the people that I talk to face is they just don't know how much money they're actually making. And it's not surprising because Facebook ad tracking sucks. If you are trying to use the Facebook pixel to track your ad campaigns, you're going to run into a bunch of problems where just none of the numbers line up because the reality is Facebook pixel tracking has always been bad and it's gotten significantly worse in the last couple of months. And so at my agency, we have a pretty robust system that we use to help people have a real clear understanding of what they're actually spending and what they're actually making with their ad campaigns. And that's what I want to walk you through in this video right here. I do have to break some news to you. This is not going to be as easy as you might like it to be. I'm going to just be real straight with you and tell you exactly how we do this. You'll see that there are a few systems that have to be in place, and you'll realize that it's probably a little more difficult than you might have wanted it to be, but I will tell you that it is actually worth it. After many years, I have scoured the internet trying to find the perfect tracking system that works 100% of the time, and I've never been able to find it. There's no such thing as a perfect tracking system. There is no such thing as 100% accuracy, but we can get really close and we can actually use some manual processes to kind of tie things up at the end of the month, looking at a few different systems. And we can get a really clear picture of what we're investing into our ad campaigns and what we're getting out the other end. You just kind of have to follow the steps that I'm going to actually show you in this video right here. So that's what I've got in tune for you. Let's stick around and I will show you exactly how we set up tracking and measure conversion and attributions for our Facebook ad campaigns. So today I have with me my handy dandy iPad that I've written out some notes so I can show you how we set up tracking. And a couple of things before we get started. One, if you're trying to run Facebook ads without having tracking in place, one, stop what you were doing, and two, start working with somebody else. Because no good advertiser would ever let you run Facebook ads without having good tracking in place. The second thing is, if you are trying to run Facebook ads and you are only using the Facebook pixel tracking, one, stop what you're doing, and two, start working with somebody else, because any good advertiser knows that the Facebook pixel is horribly inaccurate. And if you're working with an agency that is just sending you a report on the Facebook pixel, by all means, please leave them and find someone else because that is not good either. But so this right here is the system that I am going to show you how we set everything up. So these are the really important tools that we use. And this is kind of how we set everything up when we work with clients so that we can have the best idea of what is going on. So the most important thing that we do is we set up everything through Google Tag Manager. I've got some other videos that I'll throw up here in the corner about why we use Google Tag Manager. Really, at the base level, kind of understanding what's so important about Google Tag Manager. As you do a lot of marketing, as you are running funnels, as you are setting up things on different tracking platforms and trying to optimize and do conversion rate optimization, all these things that you should be doing to run really profitable ad campaigns, you're going to have a lot of tracking scripts. And before Google Tag Manager, there's always this challenge where you had to have the Facebook pixel and then the Google Analytics, and then you had to have whatever other tracking systems, and you're using Hotjar or whatever you're using for heat maps and all this stuff. You have chatbot, maybe you got a little chatbot thing up there. And all these tags had to go on different pages. And the other problem was some of these tags didn't go on every page. So some of these need to go on thank you pages. Some of these need to go just on sales pages. There were certain things that needed to happen. And you used to have to wait for a developer to get all of that set up. Google Tag Manager makes it really easy. So you just have one tag. That's what goes on your website. And then you can manage everything through Google Tag Manager. And so I've got another video up here about Google Tag Manager. I would always recommend setting up through Google Tag Manager. One of the things that we do a lot of is just move everything into Google Tag Manager and manage everything through there. Because a nice thing for you as a business owner, if you're going through different freelancers or agencies or all this stuff as it moves forward, everybody knows where to go to find their tags, and any good marketing agency knows how to use Google Tag Manager. And so we use Google Tag Manager as kind of the housing for all things that are tracking. So unless there's a very unique case where it cannot go into Google Tag Manager, everything lives in Google Tag Manager. The second thing that is really important if we are running Facebook ads is the Facebook pixel. And ever since iOS 14, that includes the CAPI tracking, which is Conversion API is what that stands for. The Facebook pixel, at the simplest level, is what Facebook needs in order to understand what is going on with the ad campaigns. So this is how Facebook understands who's landing on landing pages, who's becoming a lead, who's converting, who's becoming a customer, all of these important things that Facebook needs to know for its algorithm so that it can go out and continue to learn who is going to be these people that continue to take the actions that you're optimizing your campaigns for, and who are going to be the people that it should go out and show your ads to next. Very important that you definitely have the Facebook pixel installed and you have it set up correctly. we are definitely, anytime we're setting up a new funnel, a new campaign, there's a lot of time and investment that goes into making sure we're telling Facebook what's a lead, what's a conversion, what's an important action that's happening in the funnel that we might want to optimize for later, like adding to cart or watching half of a long webinar or some kind of presentation like that. All of that is tracked through the Facebook pixel. So you need to have that set up. Again, we set all of that stuff up through Google Tag Manager to make it manageable. And again, there's another video up here somewhere about how to do that. But that's super important. Now, understanding what is CAPI and where does this come into place? So before the iOS 14 and all of that stuff, everything in the Facebook pixel was just done in the browser. So if you can imagine like you're using Google Chrome to do your searching online, the Facebook pixel would fire when the web page loaded up and it was inside of Google Chrome. What iOS 14 did was iOS 14 made it so that anyone who opts out of tracking with Facebook, which I believe the number most recently was somewhere above 96 or 97%. So absolutely no one wants Facebook to track them when they have that option. And so anytime someone leaves the Facebook app, meaning they've clicked on an ad and they've gone to another page that's on your website, Facebook can no longer track those people with the Facebook pixel. So what Facebook did in order to account for the Facebook pixel tracking going away with iOS 14 users, which is pretty much everybody in the US that uses an iPhone, which is most mobile traffic, what they did was they implemented server-side tracking, which server-side tracking has been around for a really long time. And it's actually predates pixel tracking. We're just kind of going back to what we were doing before, which is instead of firing stuff in the browser, meaning like your actual Chrome browser or whatever Safari that you're using to surf on the web, they're collecting data from the server. So the server is the thing running in the background that, says, hey, this IP address just loaded this web page. This IP address just loaded this web page. And so with CAPI, what we're doing is we're also sending the exact same data that we're sending in the pixel through the server so that Facebook knows, hey, if this IP address loads this thank you page, that should be considered a lead. And now we know this IP address has become a lead in this campaign. And so those are the two things that go together with Facebook now is Facebook Pixel and CAPI. For us, what we have found, lucky for most companies out there, is pretty quickly most brands and most like major tech platforms already set up some kind of native CAPI integration. So if you are using ClickFunnels, there's already a native CAPI integration. If you are using Kajabi, there's already a native CAPI integration. If you're using ActiveCampaign, there is now a native CAPI integration. So a lot of these platforms have already set something up like that. For us, what we have found, and the good news is that most major companies have already integrated some kind of Facebook Pixel CAPI integration. So if you are using ClickFunnels, there is already a native integration that does CAPI for you. If you are using Kajabi, there's already a native integration that does CAPI for you. So the basic CAPI stuff can mostly be set up through just doing a Google search about what is the platform you're using and do they already have something set up. We haven't had to go to any extreme lengths to get this set up since after a few months after this rolled out, because most companies were pretty on top of getting this done. Again, usually the best place to get this kind of stuff set up, do a quick Google search, what is the platform you're using, how to integrate it with the Facebook Pixel, and you can often find something that for CAPI, if not, there is some other options, but that's, conversation for a later day. So at this point, if we've got the Facebook Pixel set up, that is great because we can send Facebook the data that it needs to optimize. The problem is Facebook sucks at tracking and it sucks at reporting. And so what it's going to do is going to over-report your leads and is going to over-report your sales. And we often see that Facebook is many times double counting the leads, double counting the purchases. And it's just because Facebook sucks at tracking. There's not really, assuming you have everything set up correctly, which we always double check to make sure we do. Facebook also just is not good at reporting how many sales. And so for that reason, we set up these other couple of important tracking things going on here. So the next big one is Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a really important platform to have set up for tracking. And one of the reasons why is Google Analytics gives us a lot of important behavioral data that we can't get with other tracking platforms. So with Facebook or with some of these other tracking stuff that I'm going to show you, these other numbers over here, you will find that they will tell you what leads are coming in, what sales are coming in, what ad they're clicking on, what audience they came from. That is all very valuable information to know. But if you want to know things like how much time is someone spending on a page, are they bouncing? Are they scrolling down the page? Are they clicking on any of the links? Are they engaging with your videos? All of this really important behavioral data is collected with Google Analytics. And the cool thing about Google Analytics is Google Analytics will do that for all traffic sources. So you can compare your paid ads traffic sources to your email marketing traffic sources, to your search engine optimization traffic sources. So you can see all the different ways that it's working, which is really important for you ongoing to be able to learn how to better optimize your funnels and figure out what you could potentially do for different traffic sources to figure out how you can optimize the performance of your campaigns. So really important that we have Google Analytics set up. Something important to note with Google Analytics, it is pretty easy to install it. You just put the script in Google Tag Manager. It takes you a couple of minutes. To actually set up Google Analytics does take a little bit of time. You need to kind of know what you're doing, or you need to have someone do it for you because it doesn't come out ready out of the box. You need to set up goals, meaning like what are the leads, what are the purchases? You need to set up all that information. You need to set up the important events. So like if you want to track if you want to track clicks, if you want to track these different events that could happen on the page, that does have to get set up. And so know that once you install Google Analytics, you've done a great job, congratulations, but you still have to set it up. And so that's really important to do too. So again, going through this list of steps, Google Tag Manager, everything, Facebook Pixel, and then Google Analytics. The next one that we find really valuable to get done is setting up some kind of source attribution using the CRM. This is probably the most accurate and a little bit also kind of the most barbaric thing you could do. But basically what we do in our funnels is we have a different landing page for different ad platforms. So we will have a Facebook landing page. We will have a YouTube landing page. It all goes to the same place. It's all pretty much the same well, it's not always the same landing page. Sometimes we find one works better than the other, but it's all pretty much the same thing. And what we'll do is when someone opts in through that URL, when they are tagged in the CRM, like we use ActiveCampaign, some of our clients use Kajabi, so just depending on what you're doing, it will say, hey, this person came from the Facebook landing page. This person came from the YouTube landing page. It's not the best system because oftentimes it has to be manually audited. But the good news is it does actually track where that person came from, which is really valuable to be able to go back and see over time, especially if you run into any issues with your other tracking platforms. So we find that to be pretty much the most accurate. No system is 100% accurate. So if you're dealing with that, someone might opt in through multiple landing pages. That's fine. That just means multiple campaigns are working. But for the most part, you can see, hey, this person came from Facebook. This person first originally came from YouTube, that sort of stuff. The next one here is the third-party tracking platform. So right now we're using Hyros, and Hyros is working really well for us. I've been around long enough to know that sometimes these platforms change. We used to use Wicked Reports. We were really happy with that for a while. We moved to Hyros because we've just found that it does a better job. But what this third-party tracking platform does is it kind of stitches all this data together and it's able to track people better across devices. So when someone enters their email address into your CRM, it tags them with their IP address, what audience did they come from, what ad did they come from, and we're able to use this to track the lifetime value of that ad, that audience, that campaign, that customer for as long as we have this platform set up. And so that's super important to have and really valuable to have. We set that up for pretty much all of our clients that are spending more than $10,000 a month. So if you're just getting started, you could definitely work with the Facebook Pixel, Google Analytics, and setting up CRM source attribution tagging, which is pretty much all going to be free. So you don't have to go spend money to do tracking. I would say once you're spending like more than 10K a month, having something like Hyros, super valuable. We have been loving Hyros. And we'll continue to use it until someone comes out with something better. And if there's really something better, then, things might change. But at the moment, that's what we're using. And then the last thing I have on this list here is just any other ad tracking. So if you're using Google Ads, there's going to be a different Google Ads pixel that you would need to set up just like the Facebook pixel. If you're doing TikTok, there's going to be a different TikTok pixel, just like you're setting up anything else. So whatever other ad platform you're using is going to have its own attribution, kind of a conversion tracking way of doing things. And so we set that all up. And again, that's all housed inside of Google Tag Manager. So this is kind of this system that we're using to track ads. And I can tell you, like at the end of every month, we have one client that does high ticket sales. So we're getting between like 50 to 50-ish customers a month for high ticket sales. And at that level, it's still auditable. So we can still go back and see, hey, let's double check Hyros, let's double check the CRM and see where did this person come in? Is Hyros tracking that person as a paid ad? We can see where they entered. Hyros is mostly accurate. Again, not 100%, but I would say Hyros catches like 90% of sales. The other ones we can see like, oh, hey, this person clearly opted in through an ad and then purchased 2 weeks later. So this person should be attributed to our like paid ad campaign. So we can see that through the CRM. And then Google Analytics is like what we can use for just week to week optimizations, tracking leads and all that stuff, because again, the Facebook pixel just doesn't seem to be working super well lately. So all of that is kind of how we set things up. And then, you know, ongoing, and all these systems, I would say, like, they typically have to be maintained. None of these work 100% perfectly for forever. If you have a new funnel, things need to get set up. If you have new landing pages, you got to make sure you have the right tracking scripts, all that stuff. So it is worth setting this up, learning how this works, and making sure someone on your team has some idea of how to do this so that you are collecting the data you need to collect in order to go forward. That is all I've got for this video. I've kind of walked you through, again, the important tracking things that we set up. I would say if you're just getting started, definitely you've got to have Facebook Pixel set up in order to run Facebook ads. That's a no-brainer. Google Analytics is a good backup platform. Between Google Analytics and UTM codes, you can use that to kind of audit your Facebook ad results, because again, Facebook is going to over-report a lot, and Google Analytics, we find, gives us a more accurate picture of what's going on. CRM source attribution is not super hard to set up. Again, what we mostly do is set up different landing pages for different tracking platforms. And then if someone opts in through that landing page, we track them to, hey, what was the ad platform they came through? Then that can always go back and be audited. And then if you're spending more than 10K a month, set up Hyros. Pretty easy to do, worth doing. And I would say, like, we've definitely found it to be a good investment with our clients, again, that are spending like more than 10K. So that is all I've got. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this kind of gives you a high level overview of what we are doing for tracking to help make sure that we can measure the performance of our campaigns. And we actually know, you know, how much return on ad spend are we getting for the money that we're spending on our ad campaigns, and what's really working, so we know what to go do more of and what to go do less of. If you have any questions, please just drop them in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.